Humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We've been born out of conquering a world. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful, and we're beautiful, and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. But you must stop bowing to those who want to make you a victim. You must become the victor. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, then you are an enemy of the New World Order and Satanism. They want us shut down because we have the Spirit. I'm jacked into the source. I know the secret, and I want to see you empowered. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, let's just get right into it. Donald Trump has won the trade war. Now, I know that there's a lot of cope, there's a lot of seethe, there's a lot of just absolutely pathetic takes about, no, Trump caved, he lost. No. The markets have done a massive rebound because Trump has put a 90-day pause on the tariffs while these countries come to negotiate. Apparently, there are over 75 countries that have requested to come and meet and put their best offer forward. And Trump has said, yeah, we'll put a 90-day pause down to 10% tariffs. So we're going to be still making money, but there's a 90-day pause down to 10%. So whatever tariffs they were at before, it's now down to 10 for the next 90 days while Trump and their government negotiate. Except for countries that retaliated. So Canada takes it up the ass, but they're used to that. They like that. And China. Very specifically China. So let's just read this. Based on the lack of respect that China has shown to the world's markets, I am hereby raising the tariff charged to China by the United States to 125%, effective immediately. At some point, hopefully in the near future, China will realize that the days of ripping off the US and other countries is no longer sustainable or acceptable. Conversely, and based on the fact that more than 75 countries have called representatives of the United States, including the Department of Commerce, Treasury, and the USTR, to negotiate a solution to the subjects being discussed relative to trade barriers, tariffs, currency manipulation, and non-monetary tariffs, and that these countries have not, at my strong suggestion, retaliated in any way, shape, or form against the United States. Because of that, I have authorized a 90-day pause and a substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period of 10%, also effective immediately. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Absolutely boss energy. It's incredible to have a leader again. Joe Biden couldn't do this. Joe Biden was a vegetable. He was one of the worst presidents we've ever had. What I find to be particularly interesting about this is the same people who were outraged at the tariffs are now mad that they're gone. Which tells you that these people are not individuals of principle, but rather they're looking for something to hate Trump about. And so we have this video from your boy Asmongold. We're not going to watch the whole thing. But they basically talk about what was the objective, what was the mission, what was accomplished, and how they see things going forward. And I think that they're doing a pretty good job. Trump's approval rating has actually gone up over this period of time. And I'll just say that, I like to see Asmon's take on this. Not because I necessarily agree with him. In fact, he's one of the people that I disagree with, but not vehemently. Like, I disagree with him on the fact that Trump's a psychopath. That's what Asmongold has asserted, that Trump is a psychopath and Trump would hurt anyone, or do anything evil to be like. It's like I don't buy into that. But I do think it's interesting his take because he's a leftist, but he's not a Hassan terrorist supporting brain dead degenerate retard like, of course Hassan, but he's also not an irredeemable cucklord like Destiny. It's an interesting thing. I find his takes sometimes to be fascinating. Even though I don't agree with a lot of them, I just find what he says to be less immediately revolting than a lot of the other people. And he has an interesting insight because he used to work for the federal government. He used to work for the IRS.
China, when in fact we've seen the opposite effect. The entire
Okay, so this is the 90-day pause on some tariffs. This literally just happened.
world is calling the United States of America, not China, because they need our markets, they need our consumers, and they need this president in the Oval Office to talk to them. And that's exactly why more than 75 countries have called, because the United States of America is the best place in the world to do business. And as the president has shown great courage, as the secretary has said, in choosing to retaliate against China even higher. Elena, go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Treasury Secretary Besson. Can you explain more of the decision making on what feels like a reversal here? I mean, just these went into effect less than 15 hours ago, these tariffs. Why the pause now? What led to that?
No. Again, President Trump created maximum negotiating leverage for himself, and which tariffs went into effect.
Well, it's pretty obvious that, like, if the people that are coming to the table to negotiate, it would make sense if you're going to negotiate, he would give them a pause so there's like an incentive for them to negotiate, right? So like it's positive for them and it creates a reward structure around doing it. It's like if you kiss the ring, you're not going to have all of your crops burned. Like, I mean, this is what literally like barons did 1,000 years ago. I mean, is this really a fucking surprise?
It's an interesting way to put it. Trump's position is you've been ripping off this country. You have tariffs on us and non-monetary barriers. We're going to use every advantage to try to equalize for our people. I just the negative spin that he puts on it is very, very interesting.
It's a ceasefire in trading. It is. He caved. Yeah. He didn't cave. They did. No. And the thing is that how is it caving when these people have come to negotiate the deals?
Yeah, caving is when you basically surrender and say, okay, we're going to do what you asked. Yeah, it's caving. Caving, as in Trump goes balls deep into their cave.
Like, I don't understand why. How are they saying that he's caving?
Well, because they're emotionally captured ideological retards that think that anything that Trump does is bad. So when he had the tariffs on, it was bad. When he lowers them and gives them a pause, it's bad. Because Orange Man bad. And so these people are so mentally retarded and so politically captured, they just think that anything has to be framed in the way that Trump is losing. Trump lost. Trump, couldn't do it. Even though these are the same people that lied about Joe Biden being mentally competent for 4 years and had no problem defending every action that Joe Biden did, basically. They don't see the hypocrisy. They have no self-awareness. It's quite shocking, actually.
I'm confused. Well, yeah, I don't understand what they mean by that. A tariff ceasefire? Yeah, that's basically what's happening. Exactly. Yeah, I don't understand how his tactics are so hard to understand. Yeah, I feel like it's very simple.
Yeah, they're not hard to understand unless you are intentionally misunderstanding and misrepresenting.
Yeah, it's the same as like, Russia and Ukraine, while they're trying to negotiate a peace deal, they have a ceasefire. Like, this is very common. Of course this is what happens. The media's trying to play Trump as well. I went caving yesterday. Prediction mobs. Yeah, everyone. What is this here? I'll read a few of these. Thanks, bro. You can make up more. Bro, can you make up more excuses?
As I said a week ago today, don't retaliate. Hold your ground. Let's see what happens. And China, they kept escalating and escalating, and now they have 125% tariffs that will be effective immediately.
Mr. Secretary,
Go ahead.
So China's tariffs are now up to 125%.
Correct.
I feel like this is probably like, I mean, if I'm going to be honest, like, I think this is what he planned on doing the whole time.
I mentioned this in another video. I agree completely. I think that Trump's goal was to disrupt China. Because I think Trump is looking at the long game. He understands that the BRICS countries are trying to, they're trying to move against the interest of the United States. So by doing this, he's really, really, really damaged China. And China was one of the big actors in the BRICS nations.
And or at least this was one possible, like this was a, I would say that before they did this, this was a theoretical win condition. Because basically now if you're only, because like if you have tariffs on the whole world, right, it makes it harder for, like it puts more pressure on your economy. But if you can use the tariffs as a negotiating tactic and then get everybody else to negotiate, pause those, and then focus all of your efforts on suppressing one country as hard as you can, which is what he's doing to China, I feel like that's clearly what he's trying to do, right? That's 100% what he's trying to do. And I think that was the plan all along, because in a lot of cases like Vietnam and Japan and, the United Kingdoms, like these are not our trading enemies, really. It's China that he's viewing as a trading enemy. I think he's manipulating markets with his friends. Well, he's doing a really good job at it, I'll tell you that.
So, yeah, basically, let's...
And the president had a level in mind to raise the China tariffs.
This guy Bassett broke the British pound back in the day. He knows how to kill another country's currency. We're China's biggest importer by far. We are the buyer, and their economy is based off selling as much as possible. This guy explains it on Tucker's podcast 3 weeks ago. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, honestly...
The 3-month pause in mind, and we were discussing the exact wording. Sorry? Of course.
It's the president's decision.
It's the president's decision. It was the president's decision to wait until today. And again,
you're good, man.
As I've said in the past, no one creates leverage for himself like President Trump.
Mr. Secretary.
Shelby, go ahead.
Mr. Secretary, what does the president want to see by this, I think it's July 9th deadline to keep things paused? Is it just trade barriers coming down, or is it more than that?
Well, that these are trade negotiations, but if countries want to come and offer other things, I talked about yesterday that we are thinking about a big LNG project in Alaska that South Korea, Japan, Taiwan are interested in financing and taking a substantial portion of the offtake. But again, in essence, that is trade because it will decrease the trade deficit that we have with those countries. So everything's on the table.
Yeah, I feel like, am I crazy that like after, and maybe this is not really a good thing, but the way that Trump does negotiations, it really seems, is like the way that they do in movies, where it's like, if you do this or we're going to kill your family, or you do this or we're going to bomb this country or bomb something, right? It's basically like what he does is he pretty much goes and he is as extreme and brutal as possible. And it scares people. It's a mafia tactic. And I bet he did this in real estate.
I mean, come on. No. God. Look, he's entitled to his opinion, but no. anyone who supports Trump knows that's not accurate. Trump wouldn't just bomb anyone for any reason. The people that he celebrates when they get a bomb dropped on them are people that have hurt this country and have hurt other people. See, I think what Asmongold misunderstands is he thinks that Trump is doing everything for business reasons, or it's just the art of the deal. No, Trump is a human being, and you can tell when you talk to the people around him, when you talk to the people who know him, the people who say that he's a very caring person. Like, I don't know why Asmongold constantly needs to try to turn Trump into some kind of comic book villain. Like, no, he's like Al Capone. It's like, I don't know why he feels the need to do that, but it's just not true. Anyone who knows about Trump knows that he's somebody that for a long time has been very passionate about this country, has been very offended that there are people that are looking to rip it off. And he really has a deep and abiding appreciation and love for hardworking Americans, coal miners, people who work hard manual labor jobs. He has a profound respect for them, which is not something that you get from most politicians, and definitely not something that you get from most people who are billionaires. Donald Trump does have an abiding love and appreciation for these people. And it's interesting to see because you can watch and observe it. It's not even about what he says. You can tell in his, in his attitude and the way that he presents himself that he cares very, very bigly about that sort of thing. If you want to know my opinion, I think that Asmongold likes being perceived on the left, and I do think he is on the left. So I think very often, in order to sort of inculcate him from some of the more, just ardent critics, people like Hassan, he's a right winger. I think he says this stuff about Trump, that Trump is this diabolical, terrible psychopath that's evil. He's the biggest scammer in the world. Like, he uses this pejorative language to try to distance himself from the allegations that he's on the right. He does the same thing with, I'm huge in support of the LGBT community and the trans community. He does this all the time. I think that it's, it doesn't matter what I think about it. I just think at the end of the day, it's not true. I don't think the stuff that he says about Trump is true. I don't think his quote-unquote diagnosis of him being a psychopath is accurate. And I think the evidence of that is just simply to look at Trump interact and to understand, he does care about things. He's not putting on a fake set of emotions, because it would be very difficult to trick so many people. And, it would be difficult. Not impossible, but it'd be very difficult. And in that case, you would have to say, okay, well, either Trump is a Machiavellian mastermind, or, people on the left say he's a retard. You can't have it both ways.
I bet he's done this with other people. And yeah, it's a power dynamic. It is. And the thing is that it's intimidating people. It is. And the thing is that it works. It does work. That's why the people that did it back in the days, everybody still knows mafia tactics, not to leverage America's global power in negotiations. Yeah. Accountability. In the same of that, if you have...
was 84%.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you want to go watch the full video, you can. But yeah, for this round, Trump has won the tariff wars. Other countries are coming in to basically bend the knee and tell us what they're going to give us. What did we win? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, bit of good news. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.